I'm Mandy Gurney, founder of Millpond Children's Sleep Clinic, and you're watching Made for Mums. The key steps for a good bedtime routine are keeping the routine nice and short. Parents don't want to take more than about 30 minutes over the whole process. So whatever time they start getting their child ready for bed, by half an hour later they need to be saying goodnight. So what should be in that process is 5 minutes in a warm bath. We don't want children to spend long periods in the bath playing because they may get a second wind. Going straight from the bathroom into the bedroom where they're going to be sleeping, having the lights dimmed down before they go back into that bedroom, because light is the biggest influencing factor on our body clocks, and the dim light will be picked up by the receptors in the retina at the back of our eye, and that will produce melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, and that's what we need to be nice and high at bedtime. Then once they're in the bedroom, they quietly get into their pajamas, nappies if they're wearing them, have a cuddle and a story, and then parents should be aiming to say goodnight, as I said, about half an hour later. Within 15 minutes maximum, the child should be asleep, and parents do need to try and make sure that they leave their child to go to sleep so that they're drowsy when the parents go out of the room. We don't want the child to be deeply asleep when the parents leave, because at some point in the night they're likely to be called back again to be there to help the child get back to sleep again. So we don't want any unnecessary props or triggers for the child that means they'll wake later in the night. If your child wakes up earlier than you want them to and they call out to you, then you shouldn't ignore that. I mean, obviously they're calling to you, they want something, but what you've got to think about is what is it they want in the first place. So it might be that they're asking for some milk or some food, and it may be that they have a learnt hunger issue at that time of the morning. So try and avoid giving your child milk or food before you really want to get them up out of bed. So at 5:30 they may be calling to you because they've learnt to be hungry at that point. So slowly shift that feed, even just by 5 minutes a day, until it's in the place where you want it to be. So it's at least past 6 o'clock in the morning. You might need to look at light issues as well. There might be sound. So think about the environmental factors that may be contributing to your child waking early. And if they're old enough to understand it, you could set up a light on a timer switch in your child's bedroom that comes on at the time they are currently waking. And you explain to your child, you can get up when the light comes on. So begin with, you make it really easy because the light is on almost as soon as they wake up. Within 3 or 4 mornings, you then shift the timer switch a little bit later, up to 15 minutes later, but the same principles apply. You don't tell your child you've changed the time, but they have to wait for the lamp to come on before they get up. And slowly you shift the timer until you get it in the place where you want it to. You can use a reward system with this as well, so they get a little treat in the morning for waiting for the light to come on, and that will really help deal with early rising issues. We recommend changing the child's bedtime routine about 2 weeks before the clocks change, because it then gives the child's body clock time to adapt to that change. So what we would say, for instance, this weekend, start putting your child to bed 15 minutes later than they currently go to bed. And then we hope that the morning will do the same. So they should sleep on an extra 15 minutes in the morning. After 3 or 4 nights at that time, you shift it again by another 15 minutes later. And you continue that process until your child is asleep a whole hour later, so that when the clocks change, it may say 8:30 the night before the clocks change when your child goes to bed and is asleep, but the next day it will say the new time of 7:30. It will give them morning time to catch up, so they won't be getting up early, and you won't have all those issues with early rising, because that's one of the biggest challenges, is to deal with early rising issues. So if you've got more than one child and you're having to get up to take a child to nursery or school, and you've got a really tight schedule to keep to, this may not seem something that you can do, but you can. You could just compromise and go half an hour on. So you just do it in 2 steps. So you're not making such a big change, but any change you can make that will help your child's body clock to shift a little bit later, even half an hour, will help for when the clocks change. We've collaborated with In the Night Garden to help families get through this, what can be quite a difficult time, actually trying to get their children to go to sleep and then to sleep in later in the morning. And In the Night Garden have created some really lovely reward charts, which are all little pictures that parents can follow to try and keep their child's bedtime routine on track. And they've also created a range of activities that parents can play with their child to make bedtime seem more fun and more enjoyable. And both of those, along with more sleep tips, can be found on their website, which is inthenightgarden.co.uk.